Zdar lidi, mé jméno je Maxík a toto je moje první video na kanálu Double Player Studio. Tak, toto bude, jsme ve hře Stanley Parable. Je to taková hra, jak bych to řekl, je to taková trochu psychohra. Nedávno vyšla, nevím, jak dlouho to je. A to je velmi zajímavá hra. Jinak omlouvám se za mě, protože kašlu, že? Co je to na hovno? No to ne, takže... No jo, vidíte to, ten obraz, to je epic. To je video, bude spíš takové informativní, nebudu nic, nebo to je taková, víte, taková klidná hra, sice tam furt mele ten vypravěč, ale no. Takže co se týče našeho kanálu, ten je docela nedodělaný, máme ho, vlastně na tom kanálu jsme zatím jenom 2, co dávají videa. Ještě Meršakus nebo videote, nebo jak. A no, nemáme dodělaný intro, nemáme nic. Zatím se dáme 2 videa. Doufám, že se rozjedem. No, tak. Už by se to mohlo načíst, že? No, dobré. Jo, nechám to úvodní videjko. Je to anglicky, takže. A v češtině ještě není.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
No. Takže to je o Stanleym, co vlastně pracoval tak, že nic. Prostě jsem mu tady psal, co má mačkat, on to mačkal. A teď si nic nepíše.
All of his workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided.
On vlastně tak možná doufám, že to bude.
Decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
On vlastně tady by měl někdo být, ale není, takže tahle hra je úžasná v tom, že
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
já jsem přišel do dveří vlevo. Nemusím tam jít. Mám nebo nemám? Tak já jdu doleva.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Yeah, hello.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Prý tu nic není a já jsem se otočil.
There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Boss's office.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Tak se otevře nějaký tajný. Co je tady? Sakra, vůbec nic nevidím. Tak asi máme jít dolů. Tak půjdeme dolů. Loading. No, takže. No, potom na tom našem kanálu budeme muset někde nabrat odběratele, že? Samozřejmě. A taky, jestli se na to někdo díváte, tak pokud vás baví natáčet, tak můžete se nám ozvat, když tak.
Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Escape. No co, budeme poslouchat? Jsme hodní. Co teď?
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Pěkně tyjo, to je televizí, to by se dívalo. Všechny propojit a vdat co jen velkou, to by byla pecka. Nechápu, protože tady ale taká debilní místnost, že tam taká díra. Logika, fakt. No. Podíváme se, co za hroznou věc skrývají ty televizky.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Huh? Nikdo nikde není. Proč nikdo nikde není? Já už nevím to číslo, ve kterém jsem byl. 400. Nebo to bylo 100. Vyhozen. Víte.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
No, vidíte.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Waiting input. No nic, tak. On říkal, že ho vypnem, že? Vypnem. No vyp jsem. To jsem teda vyp.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him. For it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
No, tak to byl jeden z těch 18 nebo 20 nebo kolik jich tam mě konců. A taky tam jsou třeba stejné konce, ale dostanou se, dá se tam dostat jinudy, takže vlastně to trvá díl. Takže v téhle hře se soutěží o tom, do tu hru déle hraje, no. Asi tak. Prostě kuk a jdete znova. No. Takhle to je. Ale prostě, když se šli úplně stejně, tak se dostaneme tam, kde jsme teď byli.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Tak teďka půjdeme doprava.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Yes, truly a room worth admiring. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Na. Jo. Tam je tam meeting room, kde jsme byli, vidíte to? On chce, aby jsme se vrátili. Tak to ukažu.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Jo, tam mám tíčko. No, tak. Do not jump from the chair, go lift guys. Jo, to jsou pravidla.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about... What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side.
Yeah.
Give me a chance.
On mi chce ukázat prý něco hezkýho.
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Tak to ti kašlu.
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door.
Hej, já tě neposlechnu.
I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door. All right, fine. Go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you. You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What do you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what. Stab in the dark at a new design and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin.
Bys tak jsou ty doleva a doprava jak předtím, já jdu zase sem.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here.
Dám 4.
Okay, so we're getting somewhere. Clearly there's something here that speaks to you. If I can be honest here, I really don't have any idea where I'm going with this. This whole third door thing was just a stab in the dark. But I guess you're into it, so let's keep this party train rolling. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
Tato nebylo. Jaj. Tak to je dobrý, no. Už jenom 7 minut. Asi. Tak jdem. Vlastně.
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please.
Tak jak mám vidět, jako jestli je 1 dobře nebo 5 dobře. Tenhle hra se vlastně vyvíjela z modu, který byl dost krátký, dám ti 5.
Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up.
Nenechám tě nabootovat. No, to jsem zvědavý.
In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience. You heartless bastard. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me? Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out. I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game? Just to ease the pain. Let's see. What do we have here? Yes, this seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot.
Let's give it a shot. Co?
Well, Stanley, is this any better? At last, the one thing you've always desired. A game I had absolutely nothing to do with. But is it enough? Tell me that, Stanley. Will it ever be enough? Well, I'll say this. I'm done making things for you. From now on, I will only create to fulfill a greater artistic purpose. Watch this, Stanley. I'm going to build a house. This will go here, no, here, and then. Let's see, what does it need? Yes, of course, and just to finish it all off, yes, it's complete. I made this, Stanley. Look at it. Gaze upon my work of art and feel ashamed at your own inadequacy. But you've only seen it from the outside. You've only gotten half the experience. Please, step inside and make yourself comfortable. Isn't it grand? Isn't it perfect? It could only be better if... Wait, that's it. We must rebuild it out of diamond. Diamond everything. Yes. Come along, Stanley. We have to go mining.
Tady tyhle hře se nedá jumpovat, když by to šlo. Bych se pojal na tu vodu. To hraje hudba, jo?
Oh my, it looks like it's going to get a bit dark. Have you brought a light?
Dia. Potřebuju dia. Máte tu dia?
Oh, no. This is far more open-ended than I had in mind. I'm looking for something more narrow and linear. Something that makes you feel utterly irrelevant. This won't do at all. 1 out of 5. Even the diamonds couldn't save this one. Okay, new game.
Oj. Nová hra. Přidáš se na mnou? Toto není co ani čekat. Nevím. Určitě si ji zahrajte, mohli byste si ji zahrát. na Steamu je.
Yes! I don't even know what this game is, but I love it. You, trapped in a glass box with no way out, listening to me talk. Oh, it's inspired. I couldn't have done it any better myself. What is this game even supposed to be? I can't figure it out. Okay, now I'm curious. Let's go find out what the hell this is.
Ty vogo. Jak to, že ty komu vybrali věci? Jako by byl v té hře, až na to, že nemůžu jumpovat.
Oh, it's a puzzle. Critical thinking, Stanley. Your forte. Genius.
Oh, já jsem genius. Fakt. Keca.
No, actually, you know what? I think that's plenty. I really don't care much to see you stumble through any more of these games. And I highly doubt you're any wiser for the experience. Which is why, rather than continue to waste my time, I'm just going to leave you here. You can pretend you've beaten the game if it makes it any richer for you, but as for me, I've had enough. So, why don't you get cozy in this room, and if you have any grand revolutionary ideas for the perfect video game, you can just sit there and let it ball up inside you for all eternity. I don't need your advice. I don't need your ratings. And I certainly don't need the validation of a man whose job is to push buttons. I think I'll just go about my business, making meaningful cultural contributions to the world. And perhaps every now and then I'll think back to a man named Stanley who was objectively wrong in every decision he ever made. The thought won't last long. Goodbye, Stanley. Good luck with your work. And I sincerely hope that everyone lives happily ever after.
Kam skočit? Se zabiju. Logicky. Jako proto to přežil? Protože jsem v bytě, ne? Asi. Ztratil jsem signál. Kurník. Tak už jim na nic. Ale jako kam teď? Jako nikam? Do kalu. What the fuck? Čekaj, já jdu sem. To není sakra. Schválně, počkat, schválně se spojila na to moje číslo 427. Hele? To jdu ke svým? To byly ty dveře. Aha. 427. Jau! Mačkám tlačítko. A mačkám tlačítka. Tlačítko. Kašlu na to. Sakra. Nějak mi spadly v peska. No.
I wonder what he found.
Sakra.
If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice, and if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon.
Fakt, very
I
soon?
can wait.
Ale nebudeš čekat. Tak.
A soft wind blew outside and perhaps rain started. And if it did, it stopped shortly after. Stanley hoped that he would one day see weather.
Neměl říkat něco jiného spíš?
Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors. He entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Wow, yes, this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't 5 years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here.
Sakra to. Selova.
I'm not your enemy, really. I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult. But the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me. I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life.
Tohle padá.
She's been waiting.
No. Je těch bych černých dveří.
That's her, Stanley.
Tak.
You.
To seru.
Need to be the one to do this. Reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the. Oh no! You can't. Did you just unplug the phone? No, that wasn't supposed to be a choice. How did you do that? You actually chose incorrectly? I didn't even know that was possible. Let me double check. No, it's definitely here, clear as day. Stanley picks up the phone. He's taken to his apartment where he finds his wife, and the two pledge themselves to one another. Music comes in, fade to white, roll credits. Not picking up the phone is actually somehow an incorrect course of action. How is that even possible? None of these decisions were supposed to mean anything. I don't understand. How on earth are you making meaningful choices? What did you... Wait a second. Did I just see... No, that's not possible. I can't believe it. How had I not noticed it sooner? You're not Stanley. You're a real person. I can't believe I was so mistaken. This is why you've been able to make correct and incorrect choices. And to think I've been letting you run around in this game for so long. If you'd made any more wrong choices, you might have negated it entirely. It's as though you completely ignored even the most basic safety protocol for real-world decision-making. Or did you not grasp the severity of the situation? Well, I won't have that kind of risk on my watch. I'm going to stop the game for a moment so we can educate you properly on safe decision-making in the real world. Please observe this helpful instructional video.
Choice. It's the best part of being a real person. But if used incorrectly, can also be the most dangerous. For example, in this scenario, a hypothetical real person named Stephen has a choice. He could spend years helping improve the quality of life for citizens of impoverished third world nations. Or he could systematically set fire to every orphan living in a 30-kilometer radius of his house. Which choice would you make? Remember that unlike here, the real world makes sense, and at no time should you make a choice that does not conform to rational logic. If you find yourself speaking with a person who does not make sense, in all likelihood, that person is not real. Allow the person to finish their thought, then provide an excuse why you cannot continue talking. Turn to a partner and practice saying, "My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be having a back, sack, and crack."
Co je? Praktik, no.
Excellent. Making choices on a regular basis is the best part to a healthy decision-making process. Most medical professionals recommend making at least 8 choices per day. Do you make more than 8? Less? And finally, if you begin to wonder if your choices are actually meaningful and whether you'll ever make a significant contribution to the world, just remember that in the vast infiniteness of space, your thoughts and problems are materially insignificant, and the feeling should subside. At this time, your instructor will guide you in an exercise.
Welcome back. You may have noticed that this room has begun to deteriorate as a result of narrative contradiction. But not to worry. Now that you're properly informed on good decision-making, we're going to revisit a choice you made just a few minutes ago and see what the correct thing to do would have been. This way, please.
Ty vodíme. Myslím. Hele. Ten průtek tam nebyl. Nebyl.
Now that we know your choices are meaningful, we can't have you jumping off the platform and dying. Imagine the main character dying senseless halfway through the story. That story would make no sense at all. We just need to get you home as soon as possible before the narrative contradiction gets any worse. Unfortunately, it seems this place is not well equipped to deal with reality.
Já se chci zabít. Co mám jít zpátky? Fakt? Ale doprava, no.
Almost there. You'll take the door on the left, back to the correct ending. The story will have resolution once again, and you'll be home free in the real world.
Ty fogo, zase to... Asi mám málo místa na disku už. Ano, to bráno. Tak já to musím ale dokončit.
Now remember, all you need to do is behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back in the other direction. Perhaps we're not too late.
Zamatoři se. A nelaguj. No. Ty vole, to je místnost. Fakt cool. Bez interiér. Tak horu doleva, ty hajzle.
Oh, it's ruined. I can't believe after everything we talked about that you've destroyed my work. Why? For what? What did you get out of that? What did you think was so special about seeing the game undone? Left here like so much garbage. It's worth now. And what am I supposed to do? Even if there were a way to continue, would it be worth it? To know that my story is now how can I go back to that? I can't erase that knowledge. I'll have to live with it forever, reliving its impossibility forever. I couldn't live that way. Is it better to shut the game down entirely? To willingly destroy all of my work? I don't know. What's the answer? What do I do? No, I have to. I have to shut the game down. I have to. I have to.
Kurník, já už chci ukončit, ale já to chci dojet. Kurde. Oh my god, to se bojím.
I'm here. I'm still here. Here in this pile of rubbish. With you, who thought you were so clever. Now, where we are, my entire game is destroyed. It was the only thing in the world that was mine, and you've run it into the ground.
Ty vole.
What, did you think that would be funny? You just had to see? Didn't I impress upon you how important it was to be like Stanley? He actually knows how to do what I tell him to. He understands that if I say to do something, there's a damn good reason for it. That thought hadn't even occurred to you, had it? That there's a world outside of you? You're a child. Oh, my story. If you'd just gone through the door on the left, you would have seen it. There was a whole underground facility. You would have destroyed it and been victorious. It would have been so perfect. I worked so hard on it. I tried so hard to behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry. Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Tak jo. Hej, už je to normální.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer
To
there.
nemá být zamčený.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Už šlo jít dolů. Hej? To tak nebylo.
Stepping inside his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, until he saw the door with a voice receiver next to it. Surely behind this door lay all the answers to his questions. And beyond all probability, he knew the passcode. He had seen it on his boss's computer just last week. Night Shark 11555. Was this the code to open the door? Would it still work? There was only one way to find out. Stanley had been trained never to speak up. But now he would draw from within himself the courage to face the unknown. He drew a sharp breath and then spoke the code.
Malý střih, OK. 3, 2, 1, teď. Ano. Jsem zpátky.
Stanley spoke the code. Night Shark 115. He spoke it into the receiver, right there on the wall.
Shark nebo to.
I'm sorry, is there a problem? You didn't mishear me, did you? Please speak the code into the receiver. Otherwise, we can't get on with the story. This is a crucial step.
Počkat, já to mám říct. Shark je na 5-4, nebo jak to bylo.
Okay, fine. You're not gonna do it. But you know what? It's pretty humiliating to bring you this far, only for you to suddenly decide.
Počkat. Seru na to, ty vole, to je video. Back. Ne. Video. Advanced. Low. Okay. Takže jsem zpátky. Jo, to je asi konec. Mně to spadlo, že? Tak můžete se těšit podle odezvy, možná na další pár. No, já bych to ještě možná dotočila, ale pádalo mi to lagovalo, něco s tím zkusím dělat. Omlouvám se za všechny problémy a možná v druhém partu zdárek.